So we have a lot of news here about the Houston Rockets, but also in the NBA right now. Just earlier today, Jeremy Grant got traded for a first-round pick to the Portland Trail Blazers. And in my opinion, I think it definitely is a win-win for each team. Obviously, Jeremy Grant getting traded to the Blazers gives the Blazers another star beside Damian Lillard. And for the Detroit Pistons, it frees up cap space for them, even though it kind of does look like they did get fleeced. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the Houston Rockets. There's been a lot that's been going down. First, we had the Christian Wood trade, which, looking at it right now, I definitely would say it's pretty okay. Nothing too amazing, but we did get the 26th pick, so a first round pick and a bunch of role players, freed up cap space because we pretty much would have to pay Christian Wood $20 million a year for him to just put up 17 and 10 on this team, on a rebuilding team, which didn't really make any sense. So bring in some guys that are going to be expiring, bring in Boban, Marquise Chris, Sterling Brown, who are probably all going to get waived, Trey Burke, bring in one first round pick, and I think we call it a day right there. So we also got some Kenyon Martin Jr. news, some Eric Gordon news, and overall just rumors. So we're going to go over some Rockets news. Hopefully you like the video. Subscribe if you guys like Rockets news or NBA news in general, and let's get into it. So we'll first get into the Kenyon Martin Jr. news. It's pretty ridiculous at this point, and the reason I say that is because KJ, he's going to request a trade. It's pretty much looking like it right now. So this article by Rockets Wire, I probably will link it in the description if you guys want to check it out, but KJ Martin reportedly wants more playing time, mulling trade from the Rockets. So this article, KJ Martin, the reason he wants a trade out of Houston is to get more minutes, and the only reason I see this being really negative in KJ Martin's position is because he's a second-round pick on the second year of his rookie deal. I don't think any other team other than the Rockets are going to give him at least 20 minutes a night. If you look at his overall stats, he played very well for us. I don't think he's going to drop numbers like these on, like the Knicks, for example. People have been questioning or even rumoring Eric Gordon, KJ Martin, and a couple picks for the 11th pick, which would be pretty okay. But looking at a young player like Cam Reddish on the New York Knicks, I think they're going to treat KJ Martin with the same type of role to the point where they're not going to give him any minutes at all. So looking at his overall stats this season, 9 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Very great overall stats for someone that's in his second year, being the 52nd pick in the 2020 draft. Looking at his shooting splits, 53% from the field and 36% from three. Great overall stats. I was, questioning Silas's decision to not start him over Tate, in the second half of the season. I think it would have been more of a better fit than Jae'Sean Tate. Just kind of see what KJ Martin can do on the floor with the other guys. KPJ and Jalen Green were going off with Christian Wood basically being sidelined for the second half of the season. I think it would have been a better, I think it would have been more enjoyable to watch KJ Martin start over Jae'Sean Tate. KJ Martin, he's 21 years old, has a lot of potential. I think his ceiling is definitely higher than, most people think it is. And I think Kenyon Martin Jr. can definitely become a great player if he gets the minutes. But on the Rockets, I think he's going to get the most amount of minutes and nowhere else, essentially, unless he gets his, offensive skills to where they really need to be. So I think his defensive skills are pretty great already. He's been proven to be a pretty okay shot blocker. He is around 6'5", 215 pounds. He's a good player. Obviously, I want the Houston Rockets to keep KJ Martin because I think he could be a pretty important piece for this Rockets' future. But at the same time, he could be very expendable if other teams are interested, offering maybe even Eric Gordon, Kenyon Martin Jr., maybe the 26th and the 17th pick to move up in the draft, or even just get a good young player in return. So that's the news on KJ Martin. Let me know what you guys think about KJ. I personally want him to stay on this team just for the culture, but if he is expendable and if the Rockets are going to get a great player in return for him, or even a first-round pick, then I would be all for trading KJ Martin. So looking at the second piece of news, we have the Eric Gordon dilemma right here. So Eric Gordon, he's been rumored in a lot of trade rumors recently. Specifically, the 76ers and the Suns are interested in him. Now, this is interesting in itself because Eric Gordon has more trade value than he had, basically at the trade deadline. So getting some buzz around Eric Gordon right now is definitely a good sign for the Rockets, and they can definitely deal him, to a contender that really needs him. So the 76ers, I think they're going to offer him like the pick number 23 and like Matisse Thybulle before Gordon, which I definitely would do. Now, I feel like the Sixers would probably want a player like KJ Martin or someone like that. I want to say even like David Nwaba in return. So I would be all for that. If we just get rid of Eric Gordon's contract, we could bring, Matisse Thybulle, who definitely is one of the best defenders in the league, but, offensively isn't that great. So, and looking at the Suns, I mean, I don't really see this happening. I mean, probably the best package we can get for Gordon to the Suns is Dario Saric, maybe campaign like a protected first round pick, which I don't really want. I think I'd rather take the 23 pick, pair that with, 26 and 17 and kind of move up in the draft, or just trade him somewhere else that, another contender can use. So I think this is very great for the Houston Rockets. I mean, hopefully they're going to get rid of Eric Gordon by the end of the offseason, or at least by the end of the draft, because hopefully they can pair 17 and 26, or even with Eric Gordon and KJ to move up in the draft. I would definitely love another lottery pick. It would be pretty beneficial for us, especially with, this draft having some pretty hidden gems right there in the lottery. So let me know what you guys think about Eric Gordon. I feel like his time in Houston is definitely going to come to an end pretty soon, but if he is going to a contender like the Philadelphia 76ers, I would be all for that. I mean, him alongside PJ Tucker, who hopefully would sign with the Sixers, and James Harden, having a reunion in 2019, those boys, it'd be pretty great to see. So that's the end of the Rockets news. I mean, until the draft, we'll see. There's been a lot of, news about Paolo Banchero liking Houston and, liking the culture. I definitely will save that for tomorrow, because I am going to be streaming the whole lottery. Not even the whole lottery, probably the whole first round of the draft. So come and stick in if you guys want to. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Rockets news. We're probably going to have some more trade news about the Houston Rockets during the draft or even in the offseason. I think the Rockets aren't done making moves. Tillman Fertitta, Rafael Stone said they weren't done. They're going to be very aggressive, and I definitely believe them. So that's the video. My name is JDC. Peace.